I believe we're streaming.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and it's just going to take us a minute to go ahead and make sure we're streaming on all our platforms. Here we go. Okay, I think we got it. Well, thank you so much, Prachiji, for being here today. I really appreciate it. Just for all of our listeners, I'm again Rukmini Mehta, Artistic Director of Leela Dance Collective, and we have here Prachi Dixit with Nupur Academy, and this is the Let's Talk Kathak series, and I guess we'll just dive right in, Prachiji.
Sure. First of all, what a wonderful idea. We never get a chance to come out as teachers and talk to each other. We sometimes get interviewed by other people, but with teachers, it's good to be able to talk. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here with us. So, have been asking our guests just to start with telling us a little bit about yourself, what drew you to Kathak dance, and what your kind of early training and education in the form was like.
Sure. Um, I was too young to remember much of what inspired me, but I know my father inspired me to get into it. Um, I was barely 5, maybe, and there was a house that used to have a Kathak teacher where I would uh, walk by and I could hear the ghungroos, and that would really attract me a lot. So, and my father was a very big supporter of classical arts and music and everything wonderful that he could do for the arts. So he called my Guruji in, Guru Kanhailalji, and he had actually taught my sisters a little bit earlier, but uh, couldn't continue there. So that kind of started my journey. I was barely able to reach my Guruji's forehead to put that tika on when we did the Gandabandhan ceremony. And I just remember being like a little child and in awe of my Guruji always. Um, so, I learned a few years with him, but then he moved to Chandigarh, to Prachin Kala Kendra. Uh, and that was the most devastating 3 years, almost, of 3 days of my life, where I stopped eating, I didn't want to talk to anyone, locked myself in a room. I said, I don't want to do anything because he was moving away. But amazingly, the little inspiration that he started in me, it kind of grew by itself. And I continued till it's been 50 plus years now, close to 55 years now.
Wow, that's very. Yeah, and what was your early training like? What was the how did you train? How many classes? How rigorous was it? What about music?
Mhm. My Guruji was a very good tabla player himself. He would play the tabla as well as he would always bring either someone on sitar or sarangi with him for classes. So I was actually trained very traditionally, and he at least three times a week he would be there. But his rules were very strict. If he taught me a small piece of anything, first of all, you probably will understand that there was no, like these days, video recording or audio recording or even writing. He didn't let us write anything. If by the next class it wasn't ready or I didn't memorize it, he would actually just sit there and not teach. So he was very strict, and it was a rule that if he has taught something, you better immediately memorize it. Um,
Mhm.
of course, we didn't have the distractions of cell phones or TV or even radio. There was a limited time that you could listen to the radio in my family. And if you did, it was more the classical music that dad would play. So We had a record player that we would listen to wonderful old classical music. So he was very strict, but I remember he had a little scooter that he would come on, and sometimes for competitions and shows, I would like hang in the back of it. And he was like a father, so he would hang me in the back of his scooter. You know how this little seat, and I would hang all dressed up, and sometimes he would even put my ghungroos on for me because I was that little when I started performing. Um, but when it came to memorizing and learning and continuing my own practice, he was amazingly very strict.
Mhm.
Strict. I remember that you start with when he came and sat down while his chai was being brought to him. It was more about this feels so good talking about him. uh, uh, you start with 100 some spins and then you start talking to him and then we start footwork. So it was a very pre-planned thing that you had to have. Spinning and footwork, as you know, I'm from Jaipur Gharana, and that is a very big thing that you are a good spinner and you are a good your footwork is strong, no shortcuts till you sweat. And India, anyways, you can sweat in the summer without even dancing. So the training was very, very, very strict, yet a lot of love.
Mhm.
He created a lot of love.
Mhm.
My story is very interesting. Unlike most people that have had the same guru for years and years, my Guruji moved away to Chandigarh to Prachin Kala Kendra, and I actually after that found places where either my dad was not very happy, or I felt like I wasn't learning enough. Now I had couple of gurus after that. When he moved away, that my Guruji had said, try this, try that. So once I grew up a little bit in my teenage years, coming from a Brahmin family in Uttar Pradesh, the question was, who's going to marry her if she dances? Why will she have to dance? Forget it. Sit and learn the vocal music class that we put you into. And my Guruji was Akhil Ahmed Khan Sahab from Agra Gharana, so I learned several years with my Guruji. Just learn music and forget it. It's done. You've learned enough. You're so passionate and you dance wherever you want to dance in the house. No one will marry you otherwise. So I was actually almost forced to uh, discontinue learning. And but once that seed is in your heart of Kathak, and that passion is just so strong that you find your ways to continue. So when I came to high school or so, and that's when they stopped my dance. My dad was very much interested, but the rest of the family, some of the members of the family, were not very excited about it. So I found different ways in my neighborhood where I used to hear ghungroos and music all the time. I used to go there, and the Didi that used to teach me, Usha Sharma ji, she's in Winnipeg in Canada now. She was very inspiring and she was very supportive that I had such a passion. So I learned for a while there. Got married about I was like 22, and when I got married, my husband's first reaction was, "Why don't you go back and learn more?" So, the one point of who's going to marry you if you are dancing, we don't dance. So that was very exciting. And I actually, he was a student and we had lots of struggles throughout his PhD and things like that. But I went back to India, and I found wonderful support with a few dancers, and started continuing my own dancing.
Wow, it's really nice to hear that story.
Thank you.
It's lovely to hear. and I can definitely understand societal pressures.
Yeah.
The kind of perception of dance
Yeah.
and art in society. So thank you for sharing about that so openly. I wanted to ask you about what inspired you to start working here in the Southern California region to promote, to teach, because it's one thing to be a dancer, and it's a whole nother thing to take on the responsibility of teaching and promoting it to the next generation. So what kind of pushed you to start doing that?
Okay, so this is, I'll go back a little before California. We were on the East Coast, moved to Midwest, and so I've been teaching since 1987. Uh, and all small towns where I would gather students, and some of them were into it because of the Bollywood or whatever attracted them to it. But I did create a nice group wherever I was. So I was teaching.
Mhm.
When my husband got an opportunity to work, he got three offers for a job, and one was California. I was up and down jumping like a little kid. Let's go to California, because I knew that there's more opportunity here in California too. At least back then in 1990s, one or two, 94 or something like that. So when we moved here, for a year it was not easy because I didn't know anybody, and completely new back, atmosphere.
Mm.
Didn't know anybody that did classical dance or anything. So I started going to the YMCA to, get my workout and whatever I could do. And I met a few people there, and I started talking, and I would talk like a little kid, really, really fast, classical arts and this and that. And I only found a couple of people that really got interested, and they used to come in for swimming. The little kids would, and the moms would be sitting out there, and I would be sitting out there also with them. So that's how it kind of started in my garage in 2020, sorry, 2002 or so. And then from there, of course, like all the teachers' journey is going from garage to another person's garage, then to a part-time studio, and then moving on to your own little studio. And now I have this beautiful place where I'm able to host so many classical artists, and that come and work here and work with me. They use it just for practices, their rehearsals, that way. So when I moved here, that journey, the journey here has been always, every time I do something, I feel, oh, this is better than last time.
Mhm.
Growth is beautiful because there is so many more of opportunities here in California. So it's been a wonderful journey in California. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. And, I wanted to ask you a little bit about what it's like to work in Kathak and promote Kathak here in the West, because we are dealing with, young people who don't have a lot of experience, firsthand experience of India. So
Hmm.
there's a cultural gap that we have to bridge. And then we're also dealing with, non-Indian and Western audience members and folks. So we have to really do a lot of translation of our culture and the form. So how has that kind of journey been for you?
Okay. So I kind of call myself a curdy or a link
Mhm.
between the two cultures, as well as generations, because there's a generation that came to the States, or anywhere when you move, that came when I came here. Their view of classical arts is amazingly well connected to the classical arts. But then there's a generation that came after me. That is a different story,
Mhm.
because they still think they are in India still. And for me to bring that touch of, okay, so that was India, but we're doing our best to maintain what we are maintaining here. And
Mhm.
people's minds to the creativity of Kathak. And I mean, that's another whole topic, creativity of Kathak, which can go this direction or that direction, can go both directions. After that comes a generation that was not born in India, and now they have children or young adults or children, and so that is a generation I love working with.
Mhm.
Honestly, that's the generation, and especially if they did not themselves get a chance to learn, I find that they are very attracted to it. Uh,
Mm.
and sometimes when they sign up for class, they will say that, "Oh, I wish it was this was one of the schools, or not just mine, but that we had this opportunity where the kids are not learning just dance, but they walk in feeling so comfortable that they're in a place where they can learn, express themselves, and be connected." Because we are actually, as teachers, we are a link between the families and the children. Because if you're brought up here, and I know you're probably brought up here, right? So you always, young people feel that they have to have a dual personality in some ways.
Mm. Yeah.
They have to be able to be very Indian when they're with parents, and they don't have to be Indian when they're not. But I think as teachers, as gurus, our job is to make them comfortable with what they are and
Mm.
who they are.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
if for and for the longest time, if some students see me outside of here, they'll go, "You wear jeans? Oh wow, is that you?" So it's for them to know that it's okay that even outside, if I'm in a sari, I'm comfortable with it,
Yeah.
or whatever I am as a person. And that's what I try to instill in them, that they are absolutely okay if they don't know much about the culture. And it's my job through stories and through, so we have a circle time. Every class we have circle time. Not only do we do the mudras, hasa mudras, but we talk about what's going on in school. And uh, you know so they are comfortable with talking about themselves
Mm.
as uh, as they are in the outside in the society. So I think I take it as very exciting things. What There is one little glitch that sometimes I feel that I'm becoming, sorry to say that, but like a ballet school where everything is recorded, sent, they memorize, and they come back. And
Mhm.
slightly what I'm trying to work with, that I will do the video recording only once they've memorized. And then I think of my Guruji, do
Yeah.
not write anything, do not recording is no was no
Yeah.
chance to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you probably deal with the same thing, that if you learn, one toda, first videotape it so we will go home. And I say, first put it in your mind. And that is the reason I think, and I tell them the example that what my Guruji taught me, I was barely 5 or 6 or 11, till 11, I learned from him. I remember his parents, they come to me as clear as you can imagine, because he made me
Yes.
memorize and understand. So,
Yes.
yes, it's very convenient to send a video home, but uh, I try to teach first with the lehra so that they understand the concept of lehra goes from the day one.
Yeah.
Nothing is taught to them without the sound. And sometimes I'll change it from sitar to sarangi for them to feel it, because I know you will understand that we should not limit ourselves. So that's there. But culture wise, dance wise, I think I try to keep my purity as I had learned. um,
Mhm.
Not being rigid. I can goof off with them. I will sit on the floor and we'll do funny and silly things. But it's for them to get comfortable with me, that it's okay for them to, learn, and as well as not feel out of place. They are requested to keep Indian clothes on. They are requested to bring a dupatta and the ghungru and their notebooks, and all of those things. Yet they have this freedom that they can ask me whatever they want. So I'll give you one little example that I love giving. I was one day I was dancing. The girl said, "Show us some piece they were listening to," and I said, "Okay." So I got up and I started dancing. And one of them started getting teary-eyed. I said, "What happened?" She says, "Prachi auntie, you when you dance, you feel like you're like us." I said, "Oh, that's nice to know," because you're about 15, 16. I like to be like you. So the next thing that she said that really touched me and that keeps me going. She said, "Prachandi, when we go to the temple and when we are around other aunties, we have to be like mom wants us to be.
Mm.
This is the one place when we come that we can be like mom wants us to be, yet we can ask anything, we can say anything, we can connect with you, we can joke around. They are teaching me all the words that I haven't heard. I don't use all the new slangs I'm getting to learn with the kids, and they find it very exciting that I try to use it with them when I'm talking to them. So that and all of them got together and they said the same thing, that we feel so comfortable when we come here, that we know that you will accept us just as we are. We don't need to pretend to be very Indian, or we don't need to treat this as like somewhere you be someone else, and then when you walk out, you're someone else.
Yeah.
So, that's our goal for the
Yeah.
kids to be that comfortable with us.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about, Kathak is one of the few art forms that's gotten really popularized by Bollywood.
Mhm.
And in some ways, you can view it positively or negatively. And every Kathak teacher kind of has to navigate that topic for themselves. Whether it's that students are coming to you wanting to perform to Bollywood, or whether you feel you need to do that in order to attract audience. So I just want to ask you personally how you navigate the line between what is classical Kathak and what might be more popular Bollywoodized Kathak dance.
Sure. Um, I try to keep my school as a completely classically based school. Uh, I don't think till now we have done a single Bollywood number. Nothing against it. It might be that spoon of sugar that you give medicine with, but if you make the medicine tasty enough, I don't think you need the sugar for it. I feel. I try. I try to maintain that. Even I get a lot of phone calls. Would you choreograph a piece? We'll pay this much, or can you at a wedding come and do a song from this movie? Oh, that's a tarana though. So I try to stay away from it. There is a lot of support for Bollywood dancers, teachers, students, but I think some of us have to hold the ground somewhere. It's much easier to do. The music is already done. When the new songs come, like when I went for the Hira Mandi, when I went for the premiere, I was laughing that some schools will have some music now, and I just spent like so much money and time in India recording some of my songs. I try to do the traditional music with a touch of the modern music. It's not like purely just harmonium and singing and tabla. It's drums in there. There's to make it upbeat and more exciting for students. So according to me, there is so much depth in Kathak.
Mhm.
There is so much to learn. Till today, I think sometimes I feel like I haven't learned enough.
Mhm.
With the literature. Actually, the literature is amazing. There are books full of just the literatures. Our ancestors, our gurus have left so much beauty
Mhm.
that to be creative. I'm not saying that I don't create. Of course, at 60 plus years of age, you get that maturity of being able to create. Making a paran or a tihai or a toda is not as difficult as that. You have to keep going back to books. You can pick up ideas and you can be creative. You can do so much more to excite the kids. And I always use that. Yet, literature wise, we are one of the richest, I think, in literature. That the old tumris and the songs and there is so much to learn. So I don't know where I would get time for Bollywood. I really don't know how I would add that when I have a new treasure in my hand. Why will I go and pick something which is more shiny yet not real? You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel very strongly about that, and I absolutely am okay that people do use Bollywood music or uh, songs or even movements, and but I feel there should be one little string of line where we should maintain what we have, because I really don't want this to get lost. And I don't know if you mind my saying that actually all I remember is like a little whisper from my Guruji. Better go and spread whatever you've learned. So I'm so thankful that he taught me that first tathitita, which grew into this big tree now, right? So
Yeah.
I really don't have time for. I'm actually saying that I don't think. I'm so excited. I have a 2-day youth festival coming up in September for our 20th anniversary in LA as a school.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. Very exciting. And
Yeah.
youth festival, and I'm trying to choreograph the 2 days with artists from India. You know, several things are going on. Things are cooking up right now. I don't know if I would want anything else. I have so much material from, the our system of Kathak, should I say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wonderful to hear. It's wonderful to hear. We also are very, at our institute, very particular about maintaining the classical tradition as was taught by my Guruji. So it's really lovely to hear somebody else kind of echo those sentiments.
Yes.
So I guess speaking about then traditional Kathak, there are, Kathak dance has also evolved a lot over the ages. And some of the evolutions come from just naturally needing to evolve to be relevant.
Mhm.
But some of the evolutions actually come from, um, constraints, financial constraints, venue constraints, and it's kind of hard to know what is evolution and what is dilution, right?
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things about Kathak dance. Kathak is performed traditionally with live music, and we don't always see live music anymore with Kathak dance. A lot of times it has to do with budget, or musicians who maybe don't know how to play with Kathak.
Yeah.
Um, so I wanted to, and then the other piece of it is, there is improvisation in Kathak.
Yeah.
There's both in Kathak,
Mhm.
and when we do tons and tons of group choreography, and we have to produce, really well
Right.
produced shows, we don't do it as much, the improvisation. So I wanted to ask you, how do you navigate those components of Kathak, the live music and the
Yeah.
improvisation piece?
Just as your Guruji, remembering Chitrishta today, such a wonderful person. Uh, I've met him a few times, and what he used to do is actually put the real Kathak in students, which I do try. I have a base in classical music. I have a base. I've learned some tabla, and I play in class whenever I can, and I teach Kathak. So that is called complete Kathak, because, as you know, that music is instrumental and vocal and dance. So in our school, we teach all three as independent subject as well as together. The youngest tabla player the younger one that we have, we've have him for about 4 years, and he comes in on Sundays when the class is going on, and he actually will play with the students, and he's only 12. I have most of my students, just like Chitrita used to teach to play the harmonium, they can play the lehra. So we do have lehra and tabla. And till COVID hit, we actually hosted, I personally hosted two of very wonderful artists from India, Ajit and Ranjit Pathak. And they would come and stay 3 months and 6 months sometimes, so that my school could see that Kathak is not a recorded art. In fact, I'm kind of still debating this 2 day festival I'm trying to do. I'm trying to invite other gurus, students to come and perform in that festival. But then again, it's limited to learnings, having those artists and things like that. This is the first time we are doing a recorded festival. We have not done that for quite a few years. We always have live music, and I try to invite artists that there's some wonderful people around here. There's some wonderful people that I work with, and they have kind of seen my style, and they've kind of more prepared now. So I actually try not to have too much recording. In fact, when we are doing too much recording, I stop the class and then I go, all right, let's play the lehra and start making tihais from the 12th beat or the 13th beat. And they all go, oh, but we were learning that piece. I'm like, yes, I know, but then you'll never learn Kathak then. Then you're just learning what's already done and you're just repeating that. So I do, at a very early stage, I start teaching them how to make little tihais, how to count those and things like that. So I'm trying my best as much as I can. Now we have a couple of samarpans coming up in June and July. So I'm inviting artists from some are flying from North Carolina and Northern California. So I feel that it's very important that my students learn how to lead music, not follow the musicians.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So,
yeah.
it's lovely actually to hear you say that, because my senior batch of students, my youth company members, had their first experience with live music this last year. And I really like how you phrase that the students have to become leaders, because as a Kathaka on the stage, you are the leader and the conductor. So I really appreciate you pointing that out. I wanted to move to talking a little bit about the kind of support there is for Kathak dance in society and in our communities, because one of my passions is figuring out how to give artists and teachers financial support. All of these things cost money. And, I know that a lot of us who teach, the teaching is kind of our stable income, but there's not a lot of funding or support to make art, to make productions, to make shows, or for artists to even like create their own, solo works. So I wanted to just ask you, like, when you take a step back, in your opinion, whether it's financial or otherwise, what kind of support do you think Kathak dance needs in order to continue to thrive more and more?
That's wonderful to hear you say that, because yes, there've been times where I put Kathak ahead of me, my own self. The rent itself of the studio is something to manage. Just maintaining a studio the size thing, I'm very thankful that I have it. To maintain that and just day-to-day things is just, and Kathak is something that is a storytelling. So we are actually telling stories in the larger world, and teaching students to tell those stories. Each life is a story itself. But through Kathak, we are training students to open up, like we were just saying, be the leaders. Every child that does Samarpan from here comes back and says, Prachi aunty, that was the best thing of our life. We changed the way we present ourselves in the real world. right? We are the ones, and we really do need a lot more support than we have.
Mhm.
Right now we are counting, like we are counting our todas and parans, we're counting, where is this going to come from? How do I get the rent for the theater for this,
Yeah.
you think that when you're selling tickets that you're going to go, uh, go, wow, I can save some money. And I've heard teachers say that, oh, I don't do a show till I save money. My point is, even breaking even is a lot of work, and I'm sure you know that really well. We are struggling as a community, unless again then I start saying that I have a, I have heard people say I have 150 students. Yes, from their fee maybe, and their, we I do everything on my own. I teach. I also help clean the floor. I also help, do the dusting around here. So I know the value of that money that could be of help, definitely. Not, it's not so easy to get grants or get any kind of support. And since these are such churning times, I do understand if I ask parents to pay for this or pay for that. Everybody is struggling with the same thing. So definitely I think we could use some help, because what we are creating is actual creation of lives in some ways. If you see, we are actually being in a we imprinting something so beautiful, so much confidence and so much love for life itself,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah.
I think we could really use some, I don't know. This is a wonderful way of opening this.
Yeah.
The teachers getting together, and I'm sure that's one of the things in your mind is bring the thoughts together, how we can get support. I am also 501c3, nonprofit organization. We try, we do get some help with matching donations, this, that, but nothing major comes. Nothing that major that I can sit here on this chair and not worry about anything, because I'm the administrator, I am the teacher, I'm the choreographer, I create the music, I go to India, record the music. I'm the one who's going to make sure no kid goes out of here feeling sad or unhappy about anything, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's the story of everybody. All the Kathak teachers and all the Kathak artists have a very similar,
Yeah.
similar story. So I'm it. I was talking to Smita on Tuesday, and I was telling her, gosh, it's so nice to hear somebody else. I say it all the time. I tell our audience members, I tell my parents, I tell my friends, I have to do it all. And it's actually nice to hear somebody else say that
I
they are
completely
doing it all.
maintaining a place for student, and it's almost like, so I barely get to go to any temple, and I feel that no, I come to the temple twice a day at least, sometimes more. So
Yeah.
this is my world.
Yeah.
uh, Yet it would be nice to have a little bit of freedom, that you
Mhm.
don't to I don't worry, because that's not quite my nature. I don't worry about things, and I teach my students that don't worry, because we have added meditation and things like that to our classes. Every class I actually sit them down and we get into meditation for a few minutes. uh, so we are giving such a beautiful, positive atmosphere here, that sometimes, no, most of the times I put myself aside, and I try to look at the bigger picture, and I say, I'm doing something for the future generations. This is not for me. It's not for my ego. It's not for me to, I don't even care who thinks what about how I dance or what I do. It is about what I'm giving to the community. And actually at my age, that should be everybody's goal, is to how you can serve. We when we are earning a whole lot of money through whatever we are doing, it's an exchange. But then as you get older, you want to be able to give,
Mhm.
you want to be able to serve, because that's the purpose of mankind, I think.
Mhm.
That's the purpose of us coming on earth, is when we have enough, we should be able to share. But this should not bring any worries or anything that holds us back from
Mhm.
doing what we are doing. It would be a wonderful thing to have more support from the government, especially people that are doing the 501(c)(3)s. I know I had a parent walk in, not a parent, a prospective parent walk in. So, oh, we know what your nonprofits do. I said, please do tell me, because I don't know what the nonprofits do to make a lot of money, because I don't know. I haven't learned that part. That we are not floating in money here. Whatever I'm doing is just for the passion.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. I think one of the final questions I wanted to ask you is there's, Kathak dance and all Indian classical dance and music has a kind of spiritual component
Yes.
to it. And, in a fast moving society, like we were talking earlier, spirituality does not come through technology, through a fast paced modern society, but you have to have time and space to cultivate that transcendent aspect and element of the dance. And so, how do you cultivate that and hold on to that in yourself and in your students?
This is my favorite topic. We could be talking another 45 minutes, but I'll try to control it. So I have a very big goal, because we are definitely not physical beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. And in the times that we are on earth right now, there is so much turmoil, there is so much of frustration in people, there's so much of um, you know we're hearing all these stories about war and things. We never turn around and think what it's doing to our kids. So I actually, in two different ways, I'll tell you what I do is, on my Sunday class, I try to create a window of about 20 minutes where I actually have the kids from 5 years of age to our oldest is pretty old, um, to sit either with the parent. The parents are asked to come in that 20 minutes, and to center yourself into, even if the kids are doing this and playing with the dupatta, I say keep doing it, you'll get tired of it. And I actually help them go into that part of themselves, that they feel the peace, and if they feel that they are actually joy themselves, that they don't need to look for it outside. That's one way. And the other way is that of course, I'm a Hindu. I'm from a Brahmin family, married into a Brahmin family. But I have a view, and I'm hoping to write a book someday about it. But what is, Goddess Saraswati stand for? And what does Ganesh? I mean, why do we pray to Ganesh? All of these questions that we never we should ask the students to ask us these questions. And I have my own concept of what all these energies mean and how to utilize these energies. If we don't teach our younger ones now, they'll be in a lot of trouble, because all they see is big screens or small screens or smaller screens. That's all this generation is seeing. I feel like they're born with the cell phones in their hands, right? So my purpose is for them to see what is energy, what is spiritual strength that's within them. And I have seen so many of my younger students either on medication for depression, or for, there is so much of this that we are doing, and we can do a very simple thing, is teach them how to center themselves within. So I have a program, and it's called Inward Bound, which I am teaching the students to go inward and to get to that peaceful spot that we all have. Nobody is special who has it. We all have it. It's just recognizing and helping others recognize it. So, and through the dance, every move has this depth in it. It's not just throwing your arms around in different direction. It's exactly from where to where. I'm a big fan of Maharaji for that. He taught so much to us I would love, when he was here and if he was teaching somewhere, I would request, can I just sit there? every little thing he used to say about this, it connected him to that Krishna. Krishna means what?
Mm.
So those are the things I try to instill in my students. That peace and quiet, and I know it helps them outside, especially the teenagers and the younger children. I'm able to, and some of the moms that learn, the older ladies that learn, they love it. Sometimes they come and request, can we sit down for a few minutes? Can you talk about something? So
Yeah.
I'm trying my best. I am trying really hard.
Yeah, it's really it's wonderful to hear that you have a specific practice for cultivating that, because I do think the especially in this day and age of TikTok and Instagram, the dance becomes something to show rather than something to experience internally.
Absolutely.
And that's hard to teach in a fast-paced society. So it's lovely to kind of hear how you and others are navigating that. Well, we're coming up to the kind of conclusion of our conversation, and I just wanted to ask if there was anything else that you wanted to share with our listeners, something that maybe I didn't touch on, or anything else that you feel is important to share here.
Sure. I feel that we are stimulating our next generation a little bit too much. So I would request teachers to help parents understand to be good in 20 things or 8 activities in a week. It's better to be very good at 2 or 3, or help the parents, help students make choices. I sometimes feel odd saying, can you practice at least 15 minutes? And I have no time, not even 15 minutes, because I have to do this. And sometimes you ask him, where are you going after this? What day is it, Prachyanti, today? I mean, we are stimulating, we are teaching, we want them to be. So when are they going to be kids? When are they going to learn to look at the sky? I was just talking to someone. For them to lay on the grass and look at the sky, when are they going to do it? So when I do summer camps and all, this is what we do. We lay on the beach and we look at the sky and we listen to only the ocean. We are so lucky that we're in this place. So that's my thing with teachers. If you could just give a little support of helping the parents understand that if they are really, really good at something, let them stick with it. Don't put a tick mark on Kathak also.
Mhm.
I always ask parents, what's the goal?
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you for sharing all your thoughts and for just being willing to be a part of this conversation series. It's, my first time kind of trying to bring the Southern California community together to at least start to engage in dialogue, and hopefully something will come from here. Hopefully we'll all be able to support each other and do something for the art form.
Absolutely. And thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
This has been on my mind too, that we are all on the same boat and still we are looking in different directions. Let's all look in the same direction together. Thank you so much for inviting me to talk to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'll look forward to talking to you more, and good luck with the festival.
Thank you very much.
All righty. Namaskar. Bye-bye.